this deck, hidden heart secrets, what are they hiding from you? What are they hiding from you? Okay, they feel abandoned. It's a very honest deck, this. So they feel abandoned. They regret ghosting you, disappearing. So this person's ghosted you, okay? They regret that. They feel abandoned. You know, deep down, this person has a lot of fear, okay? Your person has a lot of fear, wounds, childhood stuff going on. Anything else? They're missing you, okay? I feel they're still a little bit mixed up though. Yeah, bottom of the deck, ego. So they are missing you, okay? They are craving you, they're desiring you. They definitely ghosted you, so that will narrow it down for those of you watching this today. You know what I feel they've got? I feel they have an abandonment wound. Okay, I feel you're dealing with someone who's emotionally avoidant and that they run when they get triggered. Okay, but instead of, you know, realising it's a trigger within them, they'll blame whatever's going on out there. Okay, that's what they're hiding from you. That is your person, but they do miss you. Righty ho, let's see what else we can find out about this person. But just emotionally avoidant. You know, this is just an energy of someone who you'll have a chat, you know, you'll try and talk to. And instead of them listening to you, you'll either get the silent treatment or they just disappear. You know, which is no good for you. It's no good for you. I'm just hearing to say that was no good for you. It's no good for your mental health to have somebody who does that to you, because it starts messing with your own neural pathways. Okay, so let's see what's going on. I'll just give this a shuffle, but like I say, welcome back. I hope you're all okay wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thanks so much for watching and all your support. I really do appreciate it, and I do read all my comments, and I send you all a big hug. I really do. If you'd like a reading, just click on the title of this video if you're on a mobile, and the links are in the description box to the website, and check out the free relationship report as well if you want to. I just saw that card's come out before I take any more. You know something, they're very secretive. Are they a water sign? They're a water sign, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. Very secretive, but intuitively you knew you were always 2 steps ahead of this person intuitively. They did keep a lot of secrets from you. They weren't very open at all. They were very, very closed off. Very closed off. But you knew this. You knew when they were not telling you the truth. And it's a classic energy of you said something to them or caught them out. And instead of taking a step back, they've just run. They've gone, ghosted you. I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to, because they can't cope. They can't cope because in the past, you know, in the past they were rejected, abandoned, or something in their childhood. They were dismissed. Okay, they were invalidated. Now, this isn't making what they did. You know, there's no excuses. But this is part of the problem within a relationship, even if just 2 people watching this. This was a part of the problem. Okay, but they didn't release the pain. And there's somebody from their past they haven't forgiven. Okay? I feel that there's someone in their past, okay, that they had to keep the peace with to protect themselves. Now, normally when you're just keeping the peace to protect yourself, you are either hiding away. If you're younger and you can't get out, you'll usually hide away, or you'll people please. Okay, and that is what the problem is. But they haven't they haven't forgiven someone. Now, on the surface, when you met this person, you might not have realised any of this. I don't feel they do, really. I don't feel they do. And unfortunately, some people will go their whole lives without realising that quite often there's a wound from childhood. Because we all have a relationship style, every single one of us. But they haven't released it. They have not released it at all. Anything else on that energy? Yeah, like if you challenged this person, right? If you challenged them or you stood up for what you believed in and you held your own, okay, or you just were assertive, which you're entitled to do, you know, you own yourself, you know, you should always call your power back. You're entitled to speak your own truth in a safe and constructive manner, okay? It's a given. It's an absolute given. But I feel when you did with this person, they just gave up. And by giving up, I mean, they just ran off. They just ran off. They want to speak to you, Page of Wands. Okay, the pages are messengers. It's usually a card of good news. Even if you don't want this, it won't be a message they'd send that would be particularly, you know, spiteful. But it does beg the question that they're still in a very secretive energy. Okay, very secretive energy. So have they actually addressed these abandonment wounds they've got? And all these these irrational fears they've got. Six of Wands in reverse. Yeah, they haven't moved on. Okay. You know, wherever they went to, they haven't moved on, and I do feel that they keep replaying however this ended. Possibly, you know, words were said that were quite nasty, spiteful, other people. They had to almost win, but it wasn't you. I'm just hearing that it wasn't you. It's going way back. They're developing a coping strategy of having to win the battle to protect their ego from whatever collapsing, because that's how they were treated as something as a child, and they don't want that to happen again. So they will just win the battle and then run. Or they think they've won the battle, okay, but they haven't moved on. You know, they haven't moved on at all. That's the secret. That's, you know, that's what is hidden. That's what's being hidden from you, that they haven't moved on. They've literally, you know, they've gone from the frying pan into the fire, okay? They've gone from the frying pan into the fire. In their own life, they've got a lack of progress. Whatever they've been doing, they are giving in, they're admitting defeat. So something they've thrown their energy into. Okay, whatever this is, you'll know. Something, you know your person, what they were passionate about. They've just said, you know, I don't want to do it anymore. But they're just very secretive. Very, very secretive. Let's just get these out. Any other messages, please? You were very, very kind. I think you got fed up of mothering somebody. Doesn't matter if you're male or female or however you identify. It's the energy of mothering, you know, like nursing somebody through it. Forgiving them. Just listening to them. Hoping and praying that they'd be more open. They'd be more open. Because what I can tell you here, this reading is for somebody watching who knew exactly, intuitively, what the problem was here. Intuitively knew. You knew what the problem was, but they would never open up to you. They would never ever open up to you. They would rather go into solitude. They would rather be on their own, okay, with their own thoughts, instead of say, you know what, yeah. They'd never ever admit it. Yeah, and they would just become, I just see somebody watching this sitting down saying, listen, I'm here, open up, talk to me. But they didn't. They just become aggressive. I'm hearing change their outfit. By that I mean they just think, okay, well, I'm not going to open up. I don't want to talk about it, so I'm going to become a different person and I'm going to go elsewhere and I'm going to pretend it never happened. It's like they airbrushed you. Okay? You offered to help this person. You know that they've got grief from the past. You know they've had some heartbreak. And you were there. You were a shoulder to cry on. You were an ear. But this, I just feel this was a real... You couldn't reach this person. And I'm garbling, but I feel this so strongly. You just couldn't reach them. You couldn't reach them. So I feel that, I'm going to be brutal here, I feel someone here run off, ghosted, changed their persona, or just gone on to the next situation as if nothing happened, not because they don't love you, but because they don't want to open Pandora's box. Okay? But for you now, it's like you're saying, well, it's time to say goodbye. I just feel, whoever's watching this, you feel, you know what, you made the wrong decision. And yes, you have gone from frying pan fire, whatever the saying is. But now it's time for me to say goodbye. Okay? Eventually they will possibly come back in and try some form of reconciliation. But whilst this person's still keeping secrets, and you're very intuitive, we're all intuitive. We know when someone is not telling us the truth. Okay, but whilst they're still keeping all their little secrets, and they're not letting go of the past, and they're still holding on to some heartbreak and disappointment, then you feel like you're just wasting your time, and there's a lack of progress. Like you're the only one building it. That it's just, they're just putting in a really poor effort. Like I always say, you've got to build a foundation of a house properly. But they don't want that. It's almost like I'm just hearing, instead of dealing with the issues and going right back to the roots, the foundation, and building it up, and even going into counselling with this card or seeing some sort of therapist, without doing any of the work you have to do to build a house or any of that, they just want the new furniture in there. Because to put the foundations and the roots, they've got to put more effort in, and they've got to learn. And also I feel somebody that you're connected into needs some form of counselling here. Yeah, they've got to get clear, they've got to make a decision, they've got to. They've got to let go of the past, okay? Definitely got to let go of the past. Even though something hurt them, it's how they tend to react in relationships now. That's how they do it. That's how they move in a relationship. That's what I'm channeling. And this always will cause disharmony and trust issues in a love relationship, okay? Because your relationship felt... it was imbalanced, but I think for you it was more the disconnection. You just couldn't get through to this person. They were just too secretive, okay? They were too secretive. But with the Page of Wands, I'll just have a look with this tarot deck. Let's see what that's going to be. What's that about? yeah, they're going to take some action. But it's the Chariot. Chariot's not... The Chariot is a card of self. I did say water sign. I have definitely... Chariot's Cancerian. It's definitely... I've got really strong water here. You know, and if it is a Cancerian, they are quite closed down. They don't show their feelings as on a whole. You know, they're not all Cancerians, but, you know, they can be quite closed off. You know, the crab with the shell. And quite often they move sideways, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I do feel that they're going to come back in and specifically tell you about a move they're making or some action they are taking, okay? But the Chariot for me in a love reading is quite often about somebody who is very focused on self, who will, you know, use other people, not necessarily in a nasty way, but they will use them to get to where they want, okay? And the bottom of the deck is the Devil, so I still feel they're still in a toxic attachment. But I feel it's the past, okay? Yeah, to the heartbreak from the past. Okay, so yeah, I do feel they'll pop back into your thing, into your arena, but I feel you've moved on. The world, I think you've closed it out. I don't think you wish them any harm. I think you've forgiven them. I feel you've forgiven them. This, like I say, might not be for all of you, so take what resonates. But I feel you've worked through this, and you know you've realised that you're worth more. You're worth somebody who is dedicated to you, who wants to work as a team, who's willing to be vulnerable with you. Okay, willing to be vulnerable, all right? Not somebody who just closes down, who runs when they can't deal with it or doesn't want to open up. So leave that with you, look after yourselves, and always remember, you're on that pedestal, you're amazing, okay? You are perfect just the way you are. You don't need anybody's validation. You don't need anybody to tell you that you're good enough. You are good enough simply for being you, okay? Takes time to get there if you've been through some rocky times, but keep persevering on that self-concept, because I promise you, you will turn a corner and yeah, you will realise, just take your power back, okay? Love you all. Bye.